Do you remember the game ISPY for Windows XP? Well, I'm trying to make that in VR. In this video, I'm going to take you through some of the planning that I've been working on and the deadlines that I've started to set to keep myself on track and actually keep the progress coming through with this project. This year I moved to Western Australia, and in part of that move I've now tried to actually engage with some local communities that I can work with to help improve the development of this game. There are also a lot of flies here in Australia, which I'm not too used to. Secondly, I've also figured out some funding. I think these land in around March. Emerging Game Makers Fund by Screen Australia. Now, from what I can see across Europe, America, and Oceania, there are actually a range of other funds that are available to support filmmakers and game developers with the creation of their different ideas. Some of them will provide just a core bit of funding, like a bit of money, while others will provide a kind of like matched contribution amount. So let's say you're putting 30% into this game, then they'll actually contribute the next 70% to help you get across the line. With this being my first proper game that I'm trying to go for release, I think this Emerging Game Makers Fund is probably the most applicable to where I'm at. And it looks like I can apply for about $30,000 of funding. The beauty of applying for this though is that it really helps me to structure and outline the core parts of my idea so that I can start to understand where the boundaries lie so that its scope stays manageable and something that I can actually achieve. Things like creating a creative pitch deck, creating a project plan, and also understanding and getting together all the CVs of my team members can really help me build that structure so that I can go forward into a game that is actually going to be completed. So with these notebooks, I can just jot down the different ideas I might come across as I'm walking around throughout the day, and just having this in my backpack means that I can jot them down. I've also been running a lot of emulators now on my phone, so it's becoming a bit of a gaming handheld, which isn't always the best for staying focused. So the core game of I Spy, right? You say, I spy something beginning with T. Yeah, it's a tree. There are lots of trees around me. And I mean, that's kind of the beginnings of where this idea goes, right? But what they did in that PC version was there were also a number of different riddles which you had to kind of solve to then understand and figure out the next kind of almost spaces that you're working through. What I really want to encourage in this game though is curiosity. I want to build worlds and spaces where interactions are fun and those interactions lead to more interactions. So some things that I've been jotting down, things like, I remember in Half-Life Alyx, when in the very first scene, you can pick up a marker and just start drawing on the board. And just this ability to kind of draw on something felt really like I was actually there. Another thing that came to mind was, do you remember the like iPhone or iPad game where you could basically, it was just called paper toss, and you're flicking a piece of paper into a bin. And I think just that interaction of throwing an object and trying to get it to land in a space, that to have that interaction in VR, I think would be quite fun and quite exciting. I've also been watching a lot of Game Maker's Toolkit. I mean, that channel is just insane. The level of quality he has on just all these different aspects of development and mechanics, I found really useful to kind of contextualize and help guide the process that I'm working on. One of the videos that really stuck out to me was this one on Portal 2. And it really talked about the level of playtesting that they were doing to test their assumptions and build and develop the different puzzles that they were working on. And seeing as my game's kind of a bit of a puzzle mystery game, I've really got to focus on that. And I've got to make sure that the puzzles that I'm making are easily understood and reward that curiosity without leading to too much frustration. So that's my next plan. Next month, there's going to be a Let's Break Games event organized by Wagic. I want to just test all these interactions that I've been jotting down and writing down and test my assumptions with them. If I even don't have a VR game ready, I'm just going to create a little physical space and see what people gravitate to. Getting this kind of knowledge and understanding of how people interact with things, the affordances of those things, I think is really what I'm trying to focus on and trying to understand. And I have so many assumptions that I just need to test before I kind of move forward into those next stages. It's also going to give me another deadline to progress and move forward on this game development journey and just not get stagnated in thinking about what if or what could be. I just got to get some stuff ready. So Really looking forward to that. There's going to be another video in the next month, and I'll keep you updated on all that different progress. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.